guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 14 kicks off tomorrow, and I have 5 players that I think that you need to take into consideration to play in tournaments. Now, the video is 5 under 5, but this is a 10-game slate. There's less teams involved. There's less players in the player pool, which means that most of the percentage projections are going to be a little bit higher on a slate like this because of it's more truncated than a normal 13, 14 game slate can be. So as a result, the 5 under 5 might be a little thin this week. I don't think that you need to necessarily reach all the way down to under 5 to get different. I think that under 10% this week, you're going to find a lot better options with a lot more meat on the bone, but I have 5 of them that I think are pretty darn good for you this week. Just realize that you don't have to get all that much different. The smaller the slate goes, the wider your acceptability for your total percentages should be. You do have to get different, you just don't have to get all the way different as you would on like a 13, 14 game slate. So thank you guys for being here. Make sure that you drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
The Week 14 SmizzGang Listener League is posted. You cannot get there in the DraftKings lobby. You have to go through my link. And that link exists in our link tree at smizzle.tv/links. Make sure that you go there. It's a $10 entry fee, 3 max, $35,000. And I will shout out the top 10 finishers on the recap video on the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel. You're here on the main channel. My secondary, my spillover channel for fantasy football is the Al Smizzle Fantasy Football channel. Every Monday, the recap video comes out there. The best tournament that exists on DraftKings is right there. Once again, go to smizzle.tv/links to enter. Miles Sanders is number 1 on the list this week. Not number 1 as in the best. He's just the first one I'm talking about. Projecting at under 5%, just around 4% on multiple sites that I've looked at this week. 9 touchdowns on the year, playing against the New York Giants. Now, the Giants are kind of a tough defense. Like I said, it's a little bit thin once we get down in here. The Eagles have been very efficient at running the football, and Miles Sanders has looked very, very good. If they do end up winning this game, and they are favored by 7 points, if they get to a monster lead in this one, the Giants do a good job at kind of limiting opposing wide receivers. So last week when they played against Tennessee, who shuts down running backs because of their massive defensive line and then accentuates your ability to throw the ball effectively, the Eagles did a very good job of game planning and just attacking the opponent's weakness. Very Art of War, very Sun Tzu. I really enjoyed it. Where your opponent is weak, attack. Where your opponent is strong, retreat. Well, the Giants are pretty strong on the outside. I could see them kind of going back to, like, they're balanced. They play slow. They do a lot of things. Miles Sanders could have himself a multiple touchdown game in this spot at 6,200. Something we've seen him do at least once this year, a couple of times in total. He's not going to be very involved in the passing game. So there's better options for cash, which is why his percentage is as low as it is. Miles Sanders still a good play this week, specifically for tournaments. None of these guys should be anywhere near your cash game lineup. Najee Harris is at 2.5% this weekend against Baltimore. Now, he is at home. He is favored. He's sub 6K, and he's getting a ton of volume. So, like, I want to play guys into volume. Now, it's a low total game. The last that I had was like 37 points as a total for this one, with the Steelers favored by 5 points here. He has not gotten a lot of targets the last 2 weeks, but we know how proficient he has been in the passing game. We are still getting around 20 opportunities here, but for as low as he is, we can get one of those spike week games like we saw against Cincinnati here the last time that Harris was in the 5 under 5. It's another one of those situations. This is going to be a bully ball in division, knock down, drag out, run the football fight. That's going to be won and lost through the running backs on these two teams. And with Lamar Jackson not going to be playing this game and Snoop being the quarterback on the other team, I could see the Steelers running everything through Harris in this one. And because of him not being expensive and giving you a pivot off of other popular players at the same level. So like if Fournette doesn't go, I expect Rachaad White to be extremely popular at 5,500. Ezekiel Elliott, based on the matchup and the total and everything else in that game, 6,100 going to be very popular. So Harris falls into a price range where nobody's going to click his name, but he has similar upside to any one of those other players. So Harris, the next player on this list. We are trying to raise $50,000 from the community for No Kid Hungry. You can go to smizzle.tv/charity. We are running this fundraiser until the the 31st of this month. So 22 days left to go. Right now we are about $46,000 raised. The next match from me gets triggered at $50,000 raised when this bar down below me hits 50K. So go to smizzle.tv/charity. Every single dollar helps. No Kid Hungry provides food in the form of school breakfast and lunches, as well as at-home care for food insecure kids all across America. Every deduction or every donation is 100% tax deductible. Smizzle.tv/charity directs you to our link through Tiltify, who handles all of the tax documentation for you, sends it directly to your email box. Every dollar helps, whether you can give $1, $5, $20, $100, or $500, whatever you can afford. If you've enjoyed the content throughout the year, if you've won money in daily fantasy, if you've had a fantastic year in your real life, or if you just say, you know what, I want to make a difference with some money that I have because I want to make a difference in a kid's life, because no kid should not worry about where their next meal is coming from. Go to smizzle.tv/charity and give today. Next player on the list is A.J. Brown, another Philadelphia Eagle. The Eagles in this game have a team total of 27 points. Anything above 24 is typically a really good offensive environment. We have seen him ceiling 2 times this year. The range between his floor and his ceiling, A.J. Brown, is extremely pronounced, right? Like 42.6, 34.9, and we've seen him score 28.5, but like basically 10 to 35 is his expected range in these games because of how talented and how varied that Eagles offense is. Jalen Hurts can run. They have 3 other talented running backs who do a good job of being efficient on the ground. Devontae Smith is an extremely good wide receiver, but not having Dallas Goedert brings more volume predictably to the passing game. Now, if they have to throw to win this one and we get 40 opportunities, 35 to 40 opportunities through the air from Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown is projecting at 3.2% and gives us another opportunity at possibly approaching a ceiling game here in week 14. Even though the Giants are a tough matchup, he allows you to get way different because look, we know where this slate is going in terms of percentages, right? Everybody is going to be playing the game in Detroit, whether they are stacking players from the Vikings, whether they are stacking up players from the Lions, or whether they're full game stacking that game with a full-on onslaught with 5 or 6 plays. That's where most of the percentages are going. So if that game tends to go weird, let's say like either there's not a lot of scoring, A, B, the scoring is coming through ancillary parts, guys like KJ Osborne, Alexander Madison, or Brock Wright, like weird players on the team, right? Justin Jackson scores a touchdown. They still get 7 touchdowns, but like 4 to 5 of them come from players that don't help anybody. All of a sudden, these off-brand plays, who are not off-brand players in the least bit, guys like A.J. Brown, suddenly become more viable if they ceiling. Deebo Samuel is another player in that level. Only 6,100 here against Tampa Bay. And that's what interests me the most. We're getting Deebo Samuel at his cheapest price point on the year. Now in a situation with the backup to the backup with Mr. Suddenly Relevant Purdy at quarterback. In that game with Purdy, he got 10 targets. He also is going to get more action on the ground than we've seen from him all year, but I'm more concerned with the fact that this target rate stays at 7 or above. And because they're going to be shorter routes, Purdy, they're not going to ask him to challenge downfield. They're going to kind of lock things down. They're going to put things into a situation where, look, we're going to attack short. We're not going to let put Purdy in difficult situations. We're going to get the ball into Deebo's hands. We're going to get the ball into CMC's hands, Ayuk's hands, and everything else. Assuming he plays this week at 6,100, which is something that happened last week. He was questionable, limited in practices, missing practices, and everything else. And Deebo played and played quite well in that game, getting 10 targets. Anytime a player like Deebo Samuel gets his hands on the ball 14 times a game or 14 opportunities per game, that's a game where he can score you 25 to 30 fantasy points. And yes, Tampa Bay has been up and down on defense this year. The 49ers have been extremely strong, specifically at home. 6,100, way less to gamble than 8,000, being projected at 4.8% in large field tournaments this week. And rounding things off, I don't think he stays here, but right now on 3 sites, DJ Chark is sub 4%. He's 4,300 in the best game of the weekend. The last 2 weeks, Chark has seen 11 targets. Yes, Jamison Williams is back, but he played like 8 snaps last week. They may expand that to 20 snaps, but that still means that DJ Chark is running around and running a ton of routes in a game where the team total implies that between 6 and 8 touchdowns are going to fall out of this game between both teams. And it's not out of the realm of possibility that DJ Chark, a very talented wide receiver, albeit the wide receiver 2 option behind Amon-Ra St. Brown, he still has the possibility to get you for 4,300. If he gets you 18 plus fantasy points, you have more than enough, whether you're using him as a secondary option on Detroit in a Jared Goff stack, or a bring back option if you're using a Viking stack, or as a part of a secondary with like Justin Jefferson to get off of, to play a really good player in Jefferson, but get off of the Amon-Ra St. Brown chalk. DJ Chark allows you that opportunity. Appreciate that $20 anonymous donation to No Kid Hungry. I appreciate you guys for watching this video all season long. Next week, there will be no video for 5 Under 5. I will post it in the community section. I will post it in Discord over the weekend, as I will be in New Orleans for the DraftKings World Championship, trying to take down the Rainmakers Championship. I do not have a seat for the main tournament. I'm going to see if I can get one this weekend. I haven't really tried after it, but if I can get a seat in both tournaments, I have 2 in Rainmakers. If I can get 1 in the main tournament, that would be pretty awesome. And I will be posting from there next week with kind of a truncated slate of videos for you guys in week 15. But I'm going to get out as much as I can before I hop on that plane to Nolans. So thank you guys for watching. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.